I was born in 1951. I sort of came of age during the heyday of what we call the modern civil rights movement. So even before I started high school, I was involved in this effort to bring about more equality and justice for all in this country. And so when I thought about a career, I saw law as a way to further that. And so in terms of American values, I think the values that we think about equality, we think about fairness, we think about justice, and serving as a public defender allows one to pursue those goals and those values. And the other thing that I think about as a society, as a country, I think a country or society is defined. One way that it is defined is how it treats those accused of crime and how it treats the poor, the indigent. And I think both of those merge together in a career as a public defender.
As America's values, I think one of the most important fundamental concepts for American citizens is freedom, liberty, equality. I don't know how we protect those rights for citizens without public defenders and the public defense system. All individuals are entitled to be represented in court, whether or not they can afford it. And so often our clients are not only poor, but they suffer from other infirmities such as mental illness. Maybe physical illness has struck them, so they don't have the financial resources to represent themselves adequately in court. And America is founded on the basis that everybody is treated fairly, treated the same, that we all have the same rights as one another, that we're entitled to freedom and entitled to liberty. And I think that our job as public defenders is to make sure that all Americans, whether they can afford it or not, get the best representation possible to protect their rights and protect their freedoms.
Everyone is afforded in this country an equal and fair representation, no matter the allegations. And our attorneys advocate fiercely for clients in situations where they've been accused of criminal offenses. And it's very heartwarming to see when our clients have successes, thanks to the public defender's vital role in the justice system.
It's about making sure that the people who make the rules follow the rules. It's about making sure that the ideals that we are supposedly governed by get realized in daily life. For me, it comes down to always seeking fairness and always trying to be useful. Those are the two goals I have. I want my clients to be treated fairly, and I want to do useful work. And this job gives me an opportunity to do both of those every day. So I relish it. I really do like this. This is what I think I was born to do, so happy to be here doing it.
I'm very committed to the notion that we should have equal justice under law, and that's what drives me as far as being a public defender.
Especially if the defendant is indicating that they are innocent, then you want to give as much information, because I don't want to have a case or a defendant find, through an appeals that he was actually innocent, or something along any neglect that I did during the investigation. Had I done something differently, or I missed something, or somebody else found something that I didn't find, I never want that on my table. I don't want that on my conscience. So I think the value that I take is holding myself to a standard to make sure that I don't miss anything for that defendant on any case.
I have people ask me all the time, why do I do the work that I do, and how can I represent someone that I know is guilty? Our founding fathers developed the system that we have that gives you the right for the state to prove that you're guilty, not for you to walk in and say, I'm guilty, send me to prison. And so I enjoy the work and the challenge of making the state prove their case against someone. I tell people that ask me why I do this work, if your son, your daughter, your brother, your sister, your mother, your father, any of these people were charged, you would want them to have the best representation that you possibly could. And you would probably mortgage your home, sell your car, cash in your retirement, any of those sorts of things to get them very good legal representation. Well, there are members of our society that can't do that. And so I undertook this work so that I could do that for those people that can't afford to do it. They may be guilty, but they have the right for the state to prove that they're guilty and for someone to protect their legal rights and make them do it the right way.
There's two questions I think that I get oftentimes, how can I do what I do? How can I defend someone who I know might be guilty? I think my moral values answers that question. Secondly is because we live in a country that probably has the greatest judicial system, whereby an individual who is accused of being guilty by the state has the right to force the state to prove that beyond a reasonable doubt. I think as a public defender, I advance the essence of our criminal justice system because the second question I get is, how do you feel about getting someone off for committing a crime? And my answer is always, I don't get anyone off for doing anything. What I do is force the state to follow the law. What I do is force the state to prove that the police officers followed the law when they investigated a crime, when they searched the client, when they seized the client, when they arrested someone, that the police officers, that the state followed the law that was required of them. What I do is force the state to follow the legal procedure that's been set forth for them to prosecute my client, that they've provided all the information that they're required to provide. And what I do then is advance the essence of our system, because if the state hasn't done its job, whether through the police or the district attorney, then this person should not be found guilty